What's up everyone, welcome back to more Reddit stories about crazy people, Karens, and all that kind of stuff. Hope you're all doing awesome today. Be sure to subscribe for more Reddit content if you haven't already, and let's get into today's stories. Sorry ma'am, of course your son can try the 7 million Scoville heat unit hot sauce. I work in a hot sauce store in a busy outlet mall. We're a well-liked, locally owned business and have many loyal return customers, but at this particular location we also get a lot of tourists who are curious about our challenge items, or Hot Ones, products. We have a large variety of samples available every day. Literally like 100 hot sauces, 50 plus barbecue wing sauces just out on the table, and we can pull another 50 plus bottles or so from the fridge if one's open. Every so often we get people who come into the store and ask to try the hottest sauce. They love jalapenos in their burritos and have eaten habaneros straight, and they're ready to enter the ring, swallow some sauce, and gain the admiration of a couple friends and bystanders at the cost of a stomachache. We usually try to guide them to the 10th hottest sauce in the store, burn them with it, and move on to something mild or medium suited to their taste. Today, while I was selling items to people who were actually paying for things, a 10 or so year old boy enters the store. I always get wary when children enter the store alone because it is full of glass bottles. They usually dart straight for the shelves and pick something up, but this child came barreling towards me like a bullet. While I make change for the couple buying some sauce, he calls out to me, "Excuse me," in a horrendous whiny pitch. I ignore the rude interruption and continue my conversation with my customers. He parrots it again 12 times or so back to back as I thank these people and get them out of the store. Finally, I turn to him. "How can I help you?" "Where the F are this kid's parents?" "Hi, can I try the hottest sauce in the store?" Not this crap again. I am not dealing with this, not with the 10-year-old kid. I explain to him that the hottest sauce on the table is Hellboy, Right Hand of Doom. It's spiked with 6.66 million Scoville extract. And honestly, if you're not experienced with this kind of stuff, more than just a tiny bit can really mess up a good part of your day. Take my word for it. I explained to him he has to be 19 years old to try it and sign a waiver, which is bullcrap, but I'm off in 30 minutes, so F this kid. And instead guide him to a tasty fermented habanero that he coughs his eyes out on, before explaining to me that he could handle the Right Hand of Doom because his dad eats spicy peppers with him all the time. Okay, I say. He leaves, thank God. 15 minutes later, I'm interrupted by another customer, this time a gigantic woman in a blue blouse. She's set next to my sample table like a giant blueberry, blocking up 20% of my floor space. "Excuse me." Apple doesn't fall far. The customers I'm with are polite and excuse me to speak to her. "You didn't let my son try the sauce." I explained to her that it has extract in it several hundred times hotter than anything he has ever eaten, and that it can cause him severe discomfort and that I will not let him try it in my store. I explained that she is free to purchase the sauce and have him try it at home if she so wishes. She explains to me that she married a Mexican man, and that I wouldn't believe the things they ate in, quote, New Mexico City, where he grew up. When I asked what they had eaten there, she told me, "Things hotter than anything we have in the store." At this point, her daughter interrupts our conversation. I kid you not. "Excuse me." "What?" I'm getting annoyed. I was annoyed from the second I saw the kid, and now he's back 20 minutes later with 3 of him. "Why do you sell Valentina? It's not even a hot sauce." "How about this? You can try the sauce, and if it's as mild as you think, I'll let him try it." She agreed and grabbed her sample stick. I reached for the Right Hand of Doom and unscrewed the cap, its nuclear aroma sending memories of aches to my stomach. As she goes to dip the stick into the sauce, I warn her to only take a small amount. She grins at me and dips the stick all the way into the sauce. "Trap card, bitch." She slaps it into her mouth. Immediately, she looks uneasy before she throws herself into pure agony. She is coughing, swinging her head back and forth, trying desperately to speak, but she cannot muster any words. She dropped her sample stick in all the chaos. After a solid few minutes of coughing and dry heaving, she manages a single word. "Water." I explain to her that water won't help her now. My relief walks through the door just in time to witness the finish. She tells me that the only reason she is coughing is because it went down the wrong pipe. She then immediately vomits into our garbage can. She apologizes for spitting up, Like she didn't just rocket launch half a liter of chum into my trash can, and then leaves without saying anything else. I tossed out the trash with a smile on my face and clocked out. What happens when the I can fix him girl meets rage incarnate in a snake's body? I currently have 2 snakes that I love dearly, but previously had an older corn snake. He was a jerk that had a vendetta against anything. I rescued him not knowing his age, but knowing he was stunted growth-wise and meaner than snot. This dude would rattle his tail if I looked at him too long, but loved people watching and would pop out when someone was in the room. All to say, while he was a jerk, he was my jerk, and we had a mutual understanding. I am the rat fairy and provided sustenance, and he would let me clean his tank with a few bites as tip. Some snakes are just like that, and I respect it. He's allowed to not like me. He was adequately named Lucifer. My husband made friends with a small group from work and invited them over once for dinner. One of them was this younger girl that very much gave the pick me vibes, and was talking about how all animals just love and understand her. Obviously, I was doing something wrong if Lucy was so mean. I proved a point by opening his tank and he shot out like lightning to strike at me while I cleaned his water bowl. She was quiet and I assumed I had proved my point. Fast forward a couple hours, we were all sitting down after eating, just chatting, and the same coworker excused herself without saying much, but I assumed it was for the bathroom. She came running down the stairs, bawling, holding her hand, which had 2 little crescent moons that barely broke skin. For what it's worth, it usually bleeds the smallest bit, but I cannot stress enough, it's the surprise that gets you. It does not hurt. The sentient spaghetti noodle from hell was an ass, but the teeth are so small it's hardly noticeable. My husband is much more tactful with these things, but even he was scolding her while cleaning the bite, and was lucky he hadn't done worse. I asked what she expected to happen, that he'd just forget all the anger in his tiny scaly body and sing Kumbaya in the summoning circle I'm sure he had hidden in his tank. I mean, this guy was fueled by hateful thoughts and rage. He had no other mode. His dial was maxed out on pissed at all times. In my opinion, she deserved it. I mean, who sneaks into someone's room to try and, make friends with the asshole shoestring that has a taste for human flesh? To prove a point that she was the superior snake wrangler when I'd been this dude's maid for the last few years? I haven't seen her since, and she no longer comes to any company gatherings outside of work. Lucy has since passed, but his ashes reside in the windowsill facing the mountains at the top of my stairs. I swear I trip on the steps if I look at him too long, and I always think of him when the tree rattles against the glass like his angry little tail would. It's not an allergy, just drink some water. Alright, so I'm currently 15, almost 16, and this was when I was 8 in 2nd grade by the American school system. I have severe anaphylaxis allergies to a lot of things, mainly tree nuts, but there are others too. By the time this story took place, I'd had 3 previous anaphylaxis reactions, and 1 histamine reaction. So safe to say I was very familiar with the symptoms of my allergies and what they felt like. It was around Passover. My family and I are Jewish, so we'd bought some Mandelbrot as a treat. It was something my older sister and I had never had and I was excited to try it, but the rule was we had to eat our lunch and then we could have any dessert we'd been given. So by the time I tried the Mandelbrot, it was towards the end of lunch. I knew something was wrong after the first bite. I was expecting a slight nutty taste because I knew it had almonds in it, which I'm not allergic to. Somehow, I don't know why, it's just how it is, but it just tasted off somehow, so I didn't finish it. Even still, that 1 bite was enough that after a few minutes, my throat and tongue were starting to feel itchy. Since lunch was ending, my teacher had come to pick my class up, and I went up to her before we left the cafeteria. "I think I'm having an allergy. Can I go to the nurse?" I said. "Sweetheart, go get in line. You're not having an allergy. Just drink some water, you'll be fine." Now let me add, the woman's daughter had a deadly peanut allergy. She was previously alerted that I have severe allergies, and she still ignored me. I knew damn well she was wrong, but I'd been taught from a very young age that you listen to adults when they tell you to do things. Plus, she just scared me because she yelled too much in class, so that contributed. So I drank some water and we went back to class, and I ignored the fact that my lips and tongue were swelling up like balloons, because that was what I was told to do. Until she happened to call on me to answer a question, actually looked at my face, and I swear to Satan, deadass almost fainted. Pale face and the whole shebang. I guess it reminded her of a time her daughter had a reaction or something, but looking back I find it horribly ironic. By that point I was starting to feel nauseous, and throwing up is typically the next step in my reactions after the swelling. So I asked her again if I could go to the nurse because I was scared, like any 8-year-old going through something that they know could potentially kill them. I don't remember exactly what happened between that and when my parents came to pick me up and take me to the hospital, but I know I did end up puking, and it did not all make it into the trash can, that's all I'm saying. I later found out that my mom hadn't thought to check the ingredients on the Mandelbrot because, to her knowledge, it was only ever made with almonds. The kind we bought unfortunately deviated from that and included cashews, which is one of my 2 most severe allergens. Just a note, my allergies in the past have never actually been life-threatening. My throat hasn't closed up in the 5 allergic reactions I've had. The time I just described, I did end up having to use my EpiPen after arriving at the hospital, but I ended up okay. Automated my useless boss out of her job. This happened a few years ago. I was a data and reporting analyst and did all the ad hoc reports for the company. My boss, we'll call her Carrie, was useless. She was one of those people that was always late, left early, and took days off at short notice. The only thing of value she did was all the regular reports, sales, revenue, etc. We suspected she got away with it because she was having an affair with her boss. We'll call him Stuart. Our CEO was a fairly decent bloke. He'd look for ways to cut costs and would pay regular bonuses for the best cost-saving initiatives. Carrie was very keen to submit ideas and encouraged us all to automate our tasks so she could try and take the credit for the savings. On one of her Skive days, which coincidentally Stuart was sick as well, the CEO was desperate for the sales report my boss does. I said I'd give it a look and see if I could get it done. Normally, she'd spend 2 to 3 days doing it each week, but the CEO wanted it that afternoon. A quick inspection of the data showed it would quite easily be automated, so I knocked up the necessary script and got it over to the CEO, who was super impressed that not only had I got it done in a couple of hours, but also that it could be updated whenever he needed it. He asked if I could also look at the revenue, churn, and a couple of other reports. Over that afternoon, I automated everything my boss did. Both Carrie and Stuart were back in the next day, but were immediately summoned to the CEO's office before being suspended and sent home. Turns out the CEO knew they were having an affair, and all the times they were sick or late or had to leave early was so they could sneak off and have sex. He'd not done anything about it because of how important these reports were. Now that they were automated, he was able to get them suspended, and later fired for gross misconduct for all the time they'd taken off. I also got a nice bonus out of it. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. Thank you for watching, I appreciate it. If you enjoyed, be sure to drop a like and hit that subscribe button as well for more Reddit stories. So I'm out of here, take care, and I'll see you next time.